Okay, hey everybody, it's Brett from Moonstream, just with a quick update on the Bitcoin markets here, and wanted to revisit a couple of studies that we talked about before. Of course, the big news here today is the election and what's going on, as well as the market cycle lows from a timing perspective, which we've been forecasting for several weeks. And so this chart here is seeing a nice little bounce on Bitcoin coming up on, of course, today on November 5th. And looking at this study I did a couple of weeks ago here, October 16th, where it had this zigzag pattern. It's over on TradingView. So just if I hit play, actually this is a study, so you could watch that if you want to. But essentially it's playing out exactly as I had forecast, where we did push up here and then pushed up to this 74K region here last week. I had previously forecast we'd push up into that 73K range right there, then pull back and then go higher. So I still think that's valid. We did suggest on this zigzag here that we'd pull back into the November 5th elections. And again, this is on a market cycle timing perspective, also coincides with November 5th, so no surprise. Sold off into uncertainty. Getting a nice bounce here today, a bullish engulfing candle, and we're also seeing some of our other indicators firing green, like our radar is all red, a multi-time frame radar. So I do think we continue to see a bounce, probably see some sell pressure up into the 72K, 73K region again before breaking higher, but I am bullish on this. We're going to talk about some of the reasons why this could be panning out. And also, let's see, I need to move this out of the way slightly here. So we have if I turn on our other signals, our ERI, which is this green arrow here, it's kind of hard to see behind the line. That is one of our signals to be getting back in the market, the early reversal indicator, and our RSI Pro showing bullish divergence here with this green circle, and also is above 50 of the RSI, so that's good. Waiting for our trend strength indicator to also turn green before getting more bullish. But I do think we get a bounce here, and anything could happen, but so far things are pointing toward higher prices. And of course the US election may change the outcome of this. A lot of the different betting markets at least are factoring in a Trump win. So if we jump over to that, this is obviously skewed towards, I think the Republicans or people favoring that side are more of a gambling mentality, but nevertheless choosing a 62% chance now over 38% chance victory of Kamala Harris. I do think that'll have some impact on the election outcome, and certainly is very much a more pro-Bitcoin administration that is trying to win this election. So with that, Bitcoin jumping 3.7% in an hour after, or as the U.S. election fever begins. Sorry, I've been on vacation here and been away for a couple weeks. That's why I haven't done many of these since then. But so no surprise here going into this time frame, and the likelihood of a Trump win is pushing markets higher. And just either way, though, I think we'll have more certainty. Markets don't like uncertainty, so we'll certainly have more certainty by the end of today into the week and the rest of the week. We do have FOMC and some other economic news coming out, so we want to be a little bit careful there. I do think we have an up November and December, and could see some really nice movements there. And once this is kind of laid out, a couple things. I won't go into this news here with some FBI, and there's a lot of deep fakes out there, and so we want to be careful of that. I would just add to that, be careful of any influencer like Elon or Michael Saylor telling you to send you Bitcoins and they'll double it. They're all fakes, and be careful of that. But here again, Bitcoin price outlook hinging upon the 2024 election results. This analyst says, I've heard mixed reviews. I think either way, that certainty is going to help. But I do think that a more pro-Bitcoin administration, and that would mean RFK, Donald Trump, J.D. Vance, and, certainly Cynthia Loomis from Wyoming, Tim Scott, likely as Treasury Secretary, would be a much more favorable administration. Trump saying that he would fire Gary Gensler on day one, although in one of the articles we'll look at, that is not as easy as it sounds, but certainly got a lot of people's attention, and that might end the war on crypto, which would be good for us in the near term. This saying post-election volatility set the stage for Bitcoin's rally to record high of above 73.8. Just jumping back over into the charts here. which I tell you what, I want to finish that article. I want to come back to these charts. Then I'm going to show where there is still sell resistance up in these ranges. But right now, all eyes are on today's election, November 5th, which I've had on here for weeks. And so let's unpack this article a bit more, though, because it's interesting that I'm put on my highlighter for a minute. People asking, will the election change crypto? Maybe in the short term, but TradeFi giants likely to continue ahead regardless. I thought that was fascinating. Not surprising, but good to hear, because we're so focused on what crypto is going to do that we're maybe missing the point of what the much bigger markets want to do with it. Global markets are jittery as traders watch the U.S. election. As I mentioned, for crypto, a big unanswered question is whether the results might persuade the giants to finance or curtail or ramp up their ambitions for the industry. And several experts are talking about, regardless, however, the outcome of the election, TradeFi is unlikely to back away from all this. So that's the good news for all of us. So we're also hearing crypto traders betting Donald Trump winning a second term, as we just saw on the Polymarket page. And that would be a positive short term for the digital prices. I do think we would see a huge boost and a lot of money coming in there, and at least in the short term, as this is saying. And then they're saying victory by Vice President Harris would be a negative also in the short term. Just because the administration currently has been and proven to be anti-crypto. Not getting into politics here at all, just talking about the outcome and the likelihood of this week. So, but here's the key point. The large financial institutions, however, seem to be looking past this election action, and the market's viewing as this temporary catalyst that won't derail the adoption of crypto and blockchain over the long haul. So that's what we want to get to. And here, the quote, adoption of digital assets at the institutional level, which means lots of money coming in and likely much higher prices, will very much continue globally no matter who wins the U.S. election. So keep that in mind. Very much a global movement here. We are seeing the liquidity cycles start to turn up. I had done a study on liquidity cycles in a previous video, so you might want to go back and watch that. By the way, please like this video if you like these sessions here and looking at the TA with permission from Max. Always enjoy being here, so please like, comment, subscribe if this is new to you. And we'll continue to do more of these as going into the end of the year. So basically, they're talking about amid the cacophony, a big word there, leading into Tuesday's election today. Easy to overlook several positive developments that this week. I did want to mention this. So this is big. The SWIFT network, the payment network, which is what banks use, and the TradeFi interbank messaging system, partnered with UBS and Chainlink. Okay, a huge Chainlink, in the same sense as UBS, is massive to test allowing digital asset transactions to settle with fiat payment systems across 11,500 financial institutions in 200 countries and territories. What does that say? It says mass adoption is close, and certainly partnering with this much bigger company, UBS Warburg. Chainlink is one to watch. I haven't seen it turn up in the charts, but I do think it leads in this cycle once Bitcoin and Solana kind of slow down. I'm not seeing signs that ETH is really participating so much. So I think Bitcoin and Solana run first until Bitcoin dominance kind of peaks, and then Bitcoin and Sol runs. Maybe ETH catches up. Chainlink, I think those are going to be ones to watch. All right, so not to go too deep into all of the news here, and let's see it's pretty clear the outcome of the election will have a significant impact on the pace of such adoption. This person says, so faster pace if a Trump win and flurry of new ETFs, wider variety of digital assets, so more mass adoption faster, and it's looking that way, but there's another article I'm going to talk about with a potential black swan event if a surprise, in just at this point, kind of seems like it might be a surprise for the Democrats to pull this one off. Too early to tell. Another study, I asked Siri last night, or Alexa rather, like who was going to win. They had it at dead even, so we just can't count on anything. But yeah, I think, that's just sort of reporting the facts on these things. And either way, the altcoins could tank, he said, because there's a decent chance that SEC Chair Gensler would be empowered under a Harris administration. Kind of skipped some stuff there, but that would be the take on the Harris win. But he says he thinks Bitcoin ETH would be fine under the presidency, given both assets have been allowed to be packed as exchange rated funds. So kind of what they're going with there is ETH and Bitcoin probably be okay. And but my point is, my contention with that is that there hasn't been clear regulation, and Gensler, SEC Chair Gensler, hasn't made it easy for companies like Coinbase rather, or others to play within the rules, and they've been regulating through enforcement, and that has not been positive. So let's see. I think that's all I want to get into in this article here. And then jumping back over to the charts for what I'm seeing here. Again, balancing out of this range. If we can clear this 73, 74K region. Personally, how I'll be playing it is I'll be taking some profits in this region, 73K, and waiting. I'd rather buy on a breakout and pullback in most cases. I won't sell everything, but these red blocks are limit sell orders that we can see on the exchanges. And so I push up into this range. I'm just going to move it over. I think it could be quicker run up to 80K here by November, even December. And but I think we'll have some trouble here in this red range like that. So waiting for our trading signals to also turn green. Probably no more tomorrow. Certainly will know more tomorrow. And jumping over here, I wanted to talk about this article, though, how it says that well, just starting with this article, the Winklevoss twins, the Winklevi collectively warning that, a victory, I'm really not trying to make this political, you guys, but that it would cost crypto billions in legal fees if they have to continue battling the current regime of negative toward crypto. So, and they're saying that the Harris election win could end up being very costly for the crypto industry as a whole, basically based on these different. Sorry, I'm getting the phone call at the worst possible time. Based on the administration, racking up lots of legal fees. So essentially, Harris Biden administration has cost crypto 500 million legal fees, and suggesting that that would not happen on the other side. So I don't know. We'll see what happens. But the biggest legal disputes in the industry currently in the past have been Coinbase, Uniswap, Crypto.com, Binance, et cetera, et cetera. So that's interesting. Certainly a lot of wasted time and energy going back and forth on that. The last thing I want to talk about in the news is a possible black swan event. Could trigger a final shakeout. We do want to be aware of that, and that's another reason I will be selling into this sell zone here in case we get a deeper shakeout back into the, say, 65K buy block region. I don't think we would go lower than that. I don't think we go back down to 60K or 50K. Some are calling for that, but and some traders out there very vocally saying Bitcoin, the top is in, and we're going to 20K. The charts don't support that. I think we want to just follow it closely, but I do think we push higher. I think we've got the wind at our backs, liquidity coming in, not only in the U.S. but from China. And heard today that pension funds have just started investing or announced they'll be investing in Bitcoin. And that's good. So out of England. But a black swan event, now we don't know what that is. And it is worth noting that when we're too comfortable, these black swan events can really catch us off guard. And the longer we sort of linger up toward a topping area of resistance, the more likely any event could become black swan and really take things lower, where the sellers are already sort of in control. The buyers haven't been strong enough to push up to new highs. So I liken it to a good old-fashioned Chinese weather balloon just lingering up in the sky too long, waiting to be shot down. So I want to keep that out there as a possibility. We cannot count on anything. And I would almost rather, as they say in this article, if we do get a deeper surprise pullback, it would be excellent buying opportunities in that sense. So I'm going to keep some powder dry myself, and I've been lightening my load on altcoins just because typically what happens, just to jump over on the prices, is that we have Bitcoin dominance run first. So if we hop on over to Bitcoin dominance here, it's holding above 60%. Which is a strong area and typically signifies that it goes higher. But how high we typically go into Let me turn off some of these the signal here. Sorry guys, it's a lot to look at, and if we go to a weekly, it's easier to see. But in the last cycle here, we were up around the 60 to 70% range. So we had Bitcoin coming up into 2020, broke up into above 60%. Got up to 70% into 2020, started dropping in 2020, and all that means is the money was no longer dominant in Bitcoin. It was flowing into other coins. Prices were going up across the board in this range. Obviously, Bitcoin dominance surged again into 2021, and then money started flowing in throughout the markets. Bitcoin dominance started to fall, so I have an alert on this, and Bitcoin dominance at 20% or 70%. That's when we would likely see it coming down, but we do have some signs of kind of resistance even before that. So it's hard to say. I'll be watching that and keeping an eye on what Bitcoin's dominance is doing. Interesting, we were up 2,500 today on Bitcoin. Now it's down to 1,500. So I'm very much interested how this day closes. But and if it does sell off toward the end of the day and it turns red for any reason, the lower area here to be buying potentially in this buy zone around 66K at the 50-day exponential moving average. One of our clients had his buy limit orders filled last night at 67K, was up nicely in profit today, but as we can see, markets kind of selling off ahead of the election uncertainty. Markets don't like uncertainty. All right, let's take a look at ETH here. Not looking very strong, kind of breaking down. I think this trend line has been invalidated as upward trend line. We do like to see up higher highs. Typically, this green box is a buy zone, but ETH just hasn't been showing a lot of volume or interest. Solana, I have note to myself, please buy pullbacks on the 50-day EMA. Everything's selling off a bit today into tonight's election, but I'm really watching for these kind of buy zones where there's a lot of buy pressure already on the books. Litecoin hasn't been doing much. Was looking at that earlier, really just hasn't done a whole lot, and many of these altcoins are really not moving, not ready to go. I do think Bitcoin leads, and any of these that have an all-red radar, which is one of our tools that we use, then we stay away from. So finishing off the news, I think that was about it. Just in some aspect, any black swan that could take us lower. I don't want to talk about that so much. I did want to mention if anybody would like some help in these markets, I do a fair amount of one-on-one or a limited amount of one-on-one. When I have time with people, you can go to moonstream.io/work-with-me and watch a short video and book a call or some feedback here from people I worked with. If you just want some help, what do I do? Build an optimized portfolio in a Google Doc that we could massage together. Some people like to do that and have some one-on-one help, and so typically that's somebody with 5 or 6 figures in the market, so would like help optimizing that. And other than that, we have a monthly newsletter, and you can learn more about that on here or go to moonstream.io/max special. And I think that's right. And then find out more about our different services here, how we can help you. So not here to shill anything, just here to give you guys some resources, and including these tools, these indicators that we use for the backbone of whatever we do. And so again, that should be, you'll be able to find that at moonstream.io/max, I believe, will take you to our main homepage. So with that in mind, something for everybody, including some free resources down below. And lastly, I'll just point out, I had some good news today, by the way. I was notified by TradingView, once again, editor's pick on their platform. And so we'll be doing more videos over there on TradingView, which you can find at just Google TradingView, Brett Fogel at TradingView, and there's a whole page of these studies here that are interesting, if nothing else. And some people have given me the nickname Cryptodamus because of the way these are playing out, almost exactly as we've been talking about. Anyway, check that out. Again, please like the video, comment below if you'd like me to focus on anything else. And thanks again to Max. Hope to reconnect with him soon. That's all I have for today, everybody. You guys, good luck with everything. Probably best to sit this one out. And, I think this is a very bullish signal here. If we can hold this bullish engulfing candle today and then be looking to take some profits. There is sell pressure up in this zone. If we jump over to the total market cap real quick, it's a lot easier to see on that. Although Yeah, above here, lots of layers of this sell pressure on the total market cap, and so that includes Bitcoin, alts, etc. up in this range. What's interesting is, that's even ahead of the old all-time high of $3 trillion, which was the market cycle high last time. Touched on $3 trillion, that was it. So the fact that we're putting in higher or lower highs and lower highs, not terribly bullish. So we really need to see the start coming up. I have alerts set on crossing the 2.45 trillion as a area to take some profits, as well as crossing 2.5 trillion as a possible sell zone, just because it does seem like it's going to take some while for the overall total market cap to inch its way up through that. But as we know, Bitcoin would be leading part of that. And so these are excluding Bitcoin and ETH, not looking very good on the total market cap of the altcoins. Again, excluding Bitcoin and ETH. So, we have some work to do, and really going to be interesting to see how this plays out. But so far, so good. And so far has been following my zigzag here almost perfectly, leading into today, November 5th, the weekly cycle low based on Hurst's market cycles. We recently did some interesting work with Juan Villaverde, who you guys know, who has an excellent course on market cycles, and who was also forecasting that today, November 5th, would be I believe a 20-day cycle low or 80-day cycle low, something like that, but coinciding with the election. So I am expecting some kind of a bounce here. That's a TLDR. So anyway, guys, thanks very much, and I hope you guys enjoyed, and we'll talk to you again soon. Take care.